Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and to another edition of Tasty Tuesday. Today, we are taking our bread making to the next level by using the incredible flavor and nutrition in Kamut wheat berries. We're gonna create a truly soft and utterly enjoyable loaf straight out of a bread maker. If you've ever wanted to experience the difference that freshly milled flour makes, or if you've struggled to get a good whole grain loaf out of your bread machine, this video is for you. We've gone through all the trial and error to bring you a handcrafted recipe with perfect hydration for consistently delicious results. I'm going to show you how easy it is to transform simple wheat berries into flavorful flour and then let your bread maker do all the heavy lifting. We'll be covering everything from Kamut's unique nutty notes to achieving that coveted soft crumb. And this homemade bread is perfect for sandwiches, for toast, or simply enjoying on its own. You can say goodbye to store-bought bread and hello to the amazing aroma, flavor, and nutrition in a true, freshly milled loaf of bread. So let's go unlock the secrets to easy bread making with whole grain, so you can create that delicious loaf that you'll be proud of and your family will love. Kamut is considered an ancient grain with a truly unique flavor profile. It is nutty, it is buttery, it is absolutely delicious. And it's different from other types of wheat in that it has a much lower protein content. And so if you have gluten sensitivity, you might be able to eat bread made with Kamut. And because we're starting with the wheat berry versus pre-milled flour that you might buy from the store, we are going to be getting every bit of nutrient out of this wheat. Once wheat is milled, within 24 hours, most of its nutrients are gone. So if you're buying ready-to-use flour from the grocery store, you're really not buying as much nutrition as you think you are. And milling your own wheat at home is so easy. And once you get the hang of the different ratios that the different types of wheat berries need, you'll be a pro. And Kamut can be a little bit tricky because it is impacted by hydration more significantly than some other types of wheat berries, but we have figured it out, at least with this one recipe, and I'm gonna be sharing that with you today so you too can make a delicious, buttery, fantastic loaf of bread. So let's get to milling some wheat berries. I have the Wonder Mill, and so that's what we're gonna be using today. And I have a quart-sized jar of the Kamut wheat berries here that I keep in my kitchen. I go through this about once a week now. We're gonna need 4.5 cups of freshly milled wheat. So this holds 4 cups. We're not quite up to the top, but this should yield us plenty. And if you're new to milling your own wheat, I think any of the mills that you can buy on Amazon or anywhere else today, they're gonna work fine for you. Just read the instructions for your mill. And this mill has 3 settings: pastry, bread, and coarse. I'm gonna put it on the bread setting. And then this mill requires that you turn it on before you dump your wheat berries in. So I'm gonna turn that on and we're just gonna let it go until all of the flour has transferred to this container. I didn't use quite all of what I had in here. I think that this will be plenty, but if not, I'll just throw the rest of these in there. So now we get to assemble the ingredients into our bread maker. Let's take a look at that flour. It smells delicious. When you're using a bread machine to make your bread, it really does matter the order in which you put the ingredients in. So for my bread machine, which is a Zojirushi, we're gonna put the wet ingredients in first. I have 330 grams or 330 mLs of warm water. This is baby bottle warm. So it's not hot, it's not going to kill the yeast when you put it in here, but it is warm. So I'm just gonna pour the water right in. So we do wet ingredients first in my bread machine. Next, we're gonna go in with 2 tablespoons of honey. This is honey that I source from Azure Standard, and this is the berry wildflower honey. And I absolutely love the flavor of this honey. It is absolutely delicious. So we're gonna get 2 tablespoons of that in. It just hits you. It smells so good. So I'm loading up my tablespoon. I know this is a very big tub of honey, but honey never goes bad. So I actually have a couple of these in different flavors. And then we're just gonna pour the honey in. The honey does add a nice little sweetness to it, to the finished bread product. This is truly delicious. It does not taste like whole wheat bread, and yet you get all of the amazing health benefits from whole wheat bread. All right, there's our honey. And then right over the top of this, we are gonna add 4 1/4 cups of the Kamut flour. And what the nice thing about using freshly milled flour is when it comes out of the mill, it is fluffed up. And that's exactly how you want your flour when you measure it. You don't want it packed down. If you do it this way, you do not have to use a scale to measure. So I'm just gonna fill up the cup and level it off. So there's 1. 2. And I'm spreading this out across the water. And that's gonna give the yeast somewhere to sit where it's not gonna get wet until it's time to get wet. And 1/4. Next, we're gonna add a tablespoon of granulated sugar. And we're gonna wanna put this around the perimeter. You can dump it in one spot, but you wanna reserve the center for your yeast. You wanna make a little well for that yeast, and you wanna make sure that nothing goes in that well except your yeast. So I'm just gonna dump the sugar in one corner. And then we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of dry milk powder. And I've got my A2 Azure Standard milk powder here. And again, we're gonna do that in a corner or along the side, avoiding the center well. So 2 tablespoons of milk powder. Next, we're gonna add salt, and that's 2 teaspoons right along one of the corners or edges. I'll put it here. 1, 2. Because Kamut does not have a lot of gluten in it, it doesn't have a lot of rise ability. So to get the crumb more airy, I'm gonna be using Vital Wheat gluten, and we're gonna go in with 2 fluffy tablespoons of that. And then we're gonna add some fat. I'm gonna use butter, and I'm gonna use about 2 tablespoons of butter. And I always keep my butter out. We go through that pretty quickly, so mine usually stays on the counter. So this is semi-soft. And I'm just gonna put that right there, avoiding that center well. And last but not least, we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of yeast. Honestly, can't remember if this is active or instant, but I'm just gonna use, it works perfect either way, and I get this at my wholesale club. So I'm just gonna do 2 teaspoons right in the center well there. And that's it. This is ready to go back into the machine, and we're gonna use the manual setting. So let me show you what I do for that. I'm gonna get my insert in here first, and then I'll see if I can turn this so you can see it. All right, I'm gonna do a manual setting on this. And so to do that, I'm gonna choose course, and I'm gonna choose course 15, which on my machine is the manual setting. And for the first rise, I am gonna set this to 60 minutes. Mine is already preset because this is what I've been doing. So now I can cycle down to the second rise, and that's set for 45 minutes, and the third rise is set for 40 minutes. The bake time is set for 1 hour, and I have the keep warm off. And we can go ahead and push start. And when this is done with the first rise, we will punch this down before it goes into the second rise. And that's just gonna help with the gluten structure. So I can push this back, and then I will show you what the punch down looks like, and then a little bit later, we'll have some fresh bread. Well, wouldn't you know it, I got distracted and I missed the beginning of the second rise, but I'm still gonna go ahead and punch this down. You just wanna be careful because there are mixing blades down here. They're not sharp or anything, but we definitely wanna get this punched down and flattened back in the pan. And now we can let it do its thing. Finish the second rise, do the third rise, and then bake. The bread machine is done, and my kitchen smells so good. Let's take first look in here and see how we did. Oh my goodness, that looks incredible. Do you notice the golden color on that? That is the color of the Kamut wheat berry. It just comes out that color. It's not a deep dark brown. It's just golden. It looks buttery. It tastes buttery. This is going to be delicious. Let's get this thing popped out. Oh, this just smells so good. I love the smell of fresh baked bread in the house. It's so inviting, so comforting. The pan is really hot, and I should take this out and put this on a wire rack to cool completely, because if I cut into this crumb right now, the steam is going to escape from inside the bread, and a lot of the hydration will escape with it, which could leave the crumb of the bread dry. But I don't care, because freshly baked hot bread with a little melted butter or some honey on it is too good to resist. So we are gonna cut into this, and I can always make more. I am loving this recipe, and as you saw, it is so easy. There are little paddles on the bottom of the bread machine if you're not familiar, and they do kind of stick inside the bread, so you have to kind of coax the sides out a little bit. And then of course it does leave a couple little holes in the bottom. Can you see the steam coming off of there? Where the paddles were. I love this bread. I love it. The color is gorgeous. Top, sides, bottom. It's amazing. And it's really warm too. It feels good on my hands. We're still a little bit cold here. Let's cut this open and take a look at the inside. This is a nice 1 pound loaf. I mean, just look at the color on that. This does not look like wheat bread. This looks like a butter loaf. And I am telling you, this is absolutely delicious. This is easy to slice. Well, it slices really well for sandwiches, French toast, even some sort of a burger bun. Ooh, that gives me an idea for next week. Look at that crumb. Can you see the steam coming off? I don't know if you can. It is completely done. And look at that crumb, and it is so soft. So incredibly soft. I'm gonna slice one more. I'm gonna show you how easy this would be to slice into sandwich bread. I'm gonna again, look at that crumb. This is hot to hold. It's really steaming. Let's get some melted butter on there. It's almost time for bed here. This is Monday night. It's getting kind of late. And I had made just a big salad for dinner tonight, just a all veggie garden salad. So this will be a nice belly warm up before going to sleep. Now, you gotta tell me, are you a crust or a no crust person? I like either. Getting used to working with wheat berries is a little different than working with traditional flour. The measurements can be a little bit different. The hydration, definitely different. A hard red wheat is gonna require a lot more liquid. And Kamut can be a little fussy with the hydration as well, but I've played with this recipe multiple times now. And I don't know if you saw the video where I mentioned my first try with these Kamut wheat berries. It was me making overnight English muffins where I fermented the dough in the refrigerator, and that was out of one of the books I got for Christmas, a recipe book. And it came out awful, so bad. It tasted like fermented alcohol. It was really awful. And so I started watching some videos on YouTube, and I came across a channel who does a lot of baking with wheat berries and touts that they do a lot with Kamut bread. So I just asked a question in the comments. I just asked if it was possibly bad wheat berries or if it was normal for it to taste like fermented alcohol, which I guess is a oxymoron because alcohol is a fermentation, but I think you know what I mean. And I waited a little bit for a response, and the response that I got was that this person had a $50 course I could take that might answer my question. And that didn't sit well with me. So I just spent probably 2 months playing around with the recipe, I don't know, every week or two, making some changes to it to try to improve it, and came up with this. So as far as I know, it's an original, and it is absolutely delicious. That crumb is so incredibly soft. It's not like your traditional wheat bread, and so yummy. Ready? That is so delicious. It's got a very mild, subtly nutty, subtly buttery, even without butter on it, flavor. It is just, and also slightly sweet. Now we did add the honey and we did add a little bit of sugar as well, but this is incredible. And the crust on here, it's not too dense. It almost has a biscuity texture to it, just even a biscuity little crunch to it. It is so delicious. And so incredibly nutritious for you because you're getting all the bran, all the germ, every piece of goodness from that wheat berry that you milled fresh just before baking, locking all of that goodness in there. Have you tried making bread with Kamut? How different is my recipe from yours? If you have any tips that you would like to give me in the comments below, I would totally welcome that because I am new to Kamut in 2025. If you've not tried Kamut, might I suggest you do so? I bought my berries from Azure Standard, and I can put a link to that in the description. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, I am all ears. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Tasty Tuesday. Divinely different Kamut wheatberry bread. My name is Kelly, you're at A Better Choice Homestead, and I do hope you come back and visit again soon.